Give him a round of applause. And that is young Mr. Moses that played for us this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, we are getting ready to present 20 awards this evening. But before we do the awards, I want to call on my dear friend, Mr. Garwey, Pastor Garwey, to offer a word of prayer for us this evening. Thank you so much.
Good evening, everyone. You can remain seated, and we will pray, of course. 40 years of success as an institution, 40 years of hard work, and 40 years of achievement for Grenada, the new national party. Let us pray. Our Heavenly Father, we give you praise and thanks and goodness for your love and your mercies towards us. We thank you for the 40 years of achievement for this great institution, the new national party. We thank you, Lord, for the opportunity that you have given unto us to lead this nation, to change lives, to cause things to grow and people to develop. And tonight, we take time off to say a special thank you to those who have worked tirelessly in the vineyard over the 40 years. May your peace continue to be upon us. May your grace continue to keep us together. And as we look forward to the next 40 years, we pray that your Holy Spirit will go before us, keeping us together as one. Bless those at the head table and all those who are here tonight. May your love continue to envelop us now. In Jesus' name, amen and amen.
Thank you very much, Pastor Garwey. Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to bestow the honor for various categories in several persons of the new national party. I'll read for you the citation for the various awards, and then we'll call the individuals accordingly. National Meritorious Service Award, and this award is granted to active and financial members of the party residing in Grenada with unabridged and loyal service to the party for more than 25 years. We'd like to ask Dr. Mitchell, our political leader, to bestow these 3 honors. The first award goes to Mr. Ashton Frame, and it will be collected by Mr. Kenneth Noel on his behalf. Let's give him a round of applause. I also want you to know that we are bringing the awards aspect of this evening's proceeding live via Mikey Live. So we welcome the folks in the diaspora. The second award goes to Ms. Cheryl Williams. Congratulations to Cheryl again. And that final award in that category goes to Marcella Campbell, a working horse. Let's give them all a round of applause. Dr. Mitchell, thank you for now. I will re-invite you a little later on to do some more. We move now to another category, Diaspora Meritorious Service. And we would like to invite Honorable Alan Chastany to do the honors. Thank you, sir. In that category, we have Mr. Donald Matheson, who is not here with us tonight. Dr. Dubois, can you collect it on his behalf, please? Thank you. She's green tonight. And this award is granted to active and financial members of the party living in the diaspora with unabridged and loyal service to the party for more than 25 years. The other person is Dr. Dennis Antwine, and Ms. Anika Duncan will receive the award on his behalf. Another beautiful green dress, boy. Woo! Ladies looking sharp tonight. And Mr. Chastany want to recognize his nice green tie. And the final award in that category goes to Mr. Ralph Lewis, who unfortunately is not here with us this evening, so we invite Mr. Nimrod Oliver to accept on his behalf. Mrs. Oliver, sorry, correction, the beautiful part of you. And Mrs. Oliver is the chairperson of our New York-based organization. Give her a big round of applause, doing wonderful things out there. Thank you so much, Honorable Chastany. It's a pleasure. Give him a round of applause. I like the tie. Yes. We move now to what is called the Golden C Awards. And this award is granted to members of the new National Party whom, notwithstanding their length of service, have made significant contributions financially and through other avenues to the party. And we take this opportunity to invite Honorable Andrew Holness to do the honors of bestowing these awards. Thank you very much, sir. And this award, Mr. Adrian Mitchell, it's a posthumous award, and Mr. Bertrand John will accept on his behalf. Mr. Adrian Mitchell. Sorry, better known as Spaceman. From River Sally in St. Patrick. Well deserving. The next award goes posthumously as well to Mr. Francis Mahon. Mr. Francis Mahon. And the person to accept on his behalf, of course, the family's behalf, Miss Erica Augustine. And finally, in that category, the third award goes posthumously to Mrs. Ann Hopkin, and it will be accepted on her behalf by Dr. Julie Dubois. Thank you very much, Dr. Dubois, accepting a very important award, and we thank Honorable Andrew Holness at this time. Thank you, sir. We now move to the Golden A Award category, and Dr. Mitchell, My pleasure to have you back here with us once again. And the first recipient, Dr. Clarice Modest. And she will, of course, accept the award. A party stalwart. And of course, this award is granted to active and financial members of the new National Party with unbroken, trusted, and loyal service for more than 25 years. And the second recipient is Mr. Nimrod Oliver. You're looking nice in that tuxedo suit, you know, boy. Missy dress you up. Yes. He came down on JetBlue, he just saw me. And the third award in this category, the Golden A category, goes to Mr. Roland Bowler. You're most welcome. Thank you, Mr. Bowler. Give him a round of applause. We're going to hear more from him tomorrow. We move to the category Platinum C. And this is such a touching area. I'm sure that those of you who hear the names would understand why. Sir Daniel Williams. Unfortunately, there isn't someone here to collect on his behalf, as far as I know. The second person, the chairman. All right, let the chairman collect it. Yes, man, come on. The chairman will collect it. And we ask you back again, Chairman, the next recipient is Sir John Watts. And this award, Mr. Chairman, he doesn't have any. This award is granted to persons who have given significant and sustained fiscal support during the 40 years of the party, the 40 years of the party. Mr. Chairman, we'll ask once again if you can accept this next one. Sir Royston Hopkins. We move quickly along. And the final award in that category, posthumously, is for Mr. Habib Hadid, and his family is here to accept on his behalf. Come on up. Grandson and his mom. Come. Same name, same. This is the new Habib Hadid. This is his grandson, namesake. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Mitchell. Thank you very much. We now move into the final platinum category. And once again, we ask Honorable Andrew Holness to present the awards. Maybe I'm hungry. And this happens to be the Platinum A Awards. This award is restored to active founding and foundation members of the new National Party who have given unbridged service in key leadership positions during the 40-year life of the party. The first award goes to Mrs. Yolan Bain Hosford. The second award goes to Sir Dr. Does he want a picture? Sir Dr. Lawrence Joseph. "40 years ago." That is a milestone. A round of applause. The third one goes to Mr. Gregory Bowen. Ladies and gentlemen, the final, the most prestigious award, the most deserving award or awardee is none other than Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, the political leader of the new National Party, the man who has been there from the beginning and continue to look damn good too. Hip, hip, hip. Hip, hip, hip. Hip, hip, hip. Thank you, gentlemen. Dr. Mitchell, I would like to have you back for a brief moment, if you may. Ladies and gentlemen, it is fitting that when we invite guests to a home, we ensure that we let them leave with a little gift. And with that in mind, we'd like to present a plaque of appreciation to Honorable Chastanet for gracing us with his presence from the sister Isle of St. Lucia. The only thing we don't speak patois in Grenada, or as we would say it in patois, bonjour, comment ça? Thank you so much. Give him a big round of applause. And of course, our esteemed guest, Honorable Andrew Holness, for gracing us with his presence all the way from Jamaica, the land of Bob Marley, the land of reggae. Thank you so much, sir, for spending this precious time with us. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Mitchell. PB 394, your lights on. PB 394. PV 394. All right, let's just have a song from the DJ. Give us something nice. You have any NNP music in the back there? That's all we want to hear tonight, you know. If you don't have that, go home.
But ain't nobody could stop us now. Beyond the move, and ain't nobody could stop us now. Beyond the move, and ain't nobody could stop us now. Dandea,
Sing, sing, sing.
dandea,
Sing, sing, sing.
dandea, dandea.
Everybody needs somebody.
Boyo,
This we know.
boyo,
You need me and I need you.
boyo.
The feeling we show. Although always I stay good. Getting in
We on the move and ain't nobody gonna stop us. Anybody gonna stop us? No. You gotta say no. Oh my goodness. Are y'all having a good time? Did you enjoy the meal? Nice. Did you enjoy the meal? Wonderful. You know, when we NNPIs get together, we just have a wonderful family occasion. NNPIs? NNPIs? Oh, this song in half then. NNPIs? That song's better. All right, folks, right about now, our very esteemed guests, certainly we invite them to say a few words tonight. And we'll start out with Honorable Chastity. Sir, it will be a pleasure to hear from you, coming all the way from St. Lucia. And not far up the road, you know, St. Vincent, St. Lucia, and we're there. So we'll appreciate if you give him a big round of applause.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Let me acknowledge the former Prime Minister of Grenada and Grenada and Carriacou, the Honorable Dr. Keith Mitchell, Right Honorable Keith. The mic's not well. Is that better? Okay. Let me acknowledge my host, the former Prime Minister, Right Honorable Dr. Keith Mitchell. Thank you, sir, for your invitation to join you tonight on this auspicious evening. My dear friend, Prime Minister Andrew Holness, and again, it's always great to see you, Andrew, and the work that you've been doing in Jamaica and what you have achieved in Jamaica. And I want to say that the three of us are also members of what we call the Caribbean Democratic Union, which really is a collection of, I would say to you, Central Party in the Caribbean. And we're also members of what's called the International Democratic Union, which is a collection of all the conservative parties in the world. I think that we have struggled in the Caribbean. I think that my two other colleagues would agree with me in defining what Caribbean conservatism, if I am to call it that, what it exactly is. Because I don't think it would be fair for any one of us to say that we are what some of the more conservative parties in the world are. And I'm very honored to be here tonight because I think that your political leader has been a pioneer for many years in helping us define what exactly that is. So first of all, to be a member of our club, we genuinely support democracy. And we think that democracy is one of the foundations to successfully governing a country, and very importantly, in ensuring that we maximize the output of our resources. But democracy in our region, sadly, is a phrase. And that a phrase that we're now still defining. Sadly, we think of the freedoms of democracy, but have we reached the point where we're willing to fight for those freedoms? And fight, I don't mean to take up arms, but to draw a line in the sand on some of those fundamental rights that we have. And I think that political parties in our region have been struggling to get persons, civil society, and individual citizens to have a greater appreciation of what those rights are. Grenada is probably one of the exceptions in which you went through a period where I believe people got to appreciate what democracy was all about. And thankfully for Grenada, you had a great person in the likes of Dr. Keith Mitchell, who came in as a general secretary and then eventually assumed the leadership of the party, that truly believed and understood those values. And I think has done an incredible job. Your new national party has done an amazing job in building up Grenada and allowing Grenada to enjoy the successes that it's having today and hopefully well into the future. One of the key elements of a democracy is the rule of law. And sometimes we think of it as just being part of the judicial system, but it's not. The rule of law is also the checks and balances that are put in place to make sure that our democracy is protected. In being a leader, a successful leader, you must believe and cherish the rule of law, and you must protect the ability of our democracy to be protected in the checks and balances, and not to do things to get in the way and to obstruct justice from taking place. And I know for sure that you have a champion in Dr. Mitchell, but more importantly, that the new National Party has also exhibited those fine ideals. Here's where the separation takes place, and I'm hoping that my two other colleagues would appreciate this, is what I call progressive economy. So that is a term to replace capitalism. While capitalism has done wonders for the developed world, I'm not so sure that capitalism in its full free fall would have actually generated the results that we've seen in the Caribbean and in Grenada. And I think that we all agree that it's not about believing there's a trickle-down theory, but there has to be a push-up, a hand up, and not a hand-down approach to our economies. So we generally believe that the market can make adjustments, but in the case of our countries where we are at our development stage and the vulnerabilities that we have because of climate change, because of exogenous shocks in the size of our economies, progressive economics, it is what is required to make sure that every single person in our country is given an opportunity to prosper, and that every person is making a contribution to the development of our country. So I want to congratulate Dr. Mitchell and the new National Party for embracing those ideals, because when I look at your policies over the years, that's exactly what I see taking place. Also, very importantly, because we are small states, and I think that once we were referred to as specks of sand in the ocean, that our international policy is critical. And what this requires is a level of pragmatism and maturity to make sure that we find our way. We're not in the business of jumping on every single ideology that we hear in supporting them. But we have to find a way to find out who our friends are, but more importantly, that those friends share the same ideals as us. And so whoever is the leader of your party has to continue, I hope, the steady hand of what Keith Mitchell has brought to the table, of where you don't have to wake up in the morning and wondering which direction your country is going, but to know that it is a position that would have been well thought out and one that will always be in the best interest of the people of Grenada. I think in preparing for tonight, it would have been very easy for me to simply speak about the envious political success that my colleague, Dr. Keith Mitchell, has enjoyed. 3 times he has won without any opposition. And not on one occasion has he been tempted to become an autocrat and to believe that that was his divine right, but to work every day humbly, making sure that the people trusted him to do it again. There are many things that I can speak of with Dr. Mitchell, but maybe I can share this one with you as a person who is an economist, a person who was the former Minister of Finance. It was Grenada and Dr. Mitchell that paved the way to introduce a new form of contract with the World Bank and the IMF and the development agencies, that put in a clause that said if in fact that there was a major exogenous shock, that our loans would be frozen until matters could be well in hand. As simple as those words are, the creativity and the insistence on making that happen, so this Ferris wheel of debt that we found ourselves in, that every time that we felt that we were making a step forward and something took place outside of the world of which we had no impact on, that all of a sudden would find us paying debt for debt. This was an ingenious way, and it speaks to the originality, it speaks to the pragmatism and the experience that this man had and what he brought to the table, and the gift that he's not just left to Grenada, but all of us in the Caribbean now are emulating that kind of clause. You need a leader that understands tourism, but understands agriculture, understands they're not in conflict with each other, understands the importance of manufacturing, and to understand that the same suit is not made for everyone. There are people who are just as happy working for someone, and there are people who want to be entrepreneurs from the day that they were born. It takes an incredible amount of leadership and wisdom and dedication to the values of your party to ensure that those things exist, because they don't happen by chance. I want to end saying that the future has become very uncertain. We see what's taking place in the Middle East. We see what's taking place in Ukraine. How many of us really appreciate if you were living in Lebanon, or if you were living in Palestine, or if you were living in Ukraine or in Syria, what it is not to have hot water, what it is not to have a health care center that you can go to, not to know if your children were going to be safe that day. These are sometimes things I think that we forget in appreciating the success we've had in our region, and why it's so important to have a wise, steady hand at the helm of your political party. The impact that we're seeing with Citizenship by Investment program, the abuse of political offices, and the mismanagement of our economies, that these are costing all of us dearly in our region. I don't want to make this a policy initiative, but with your permission, Dr. Mitchell, I want to say to you that in my political party, that we have come to the conclusion, sadly, that we cannot trust the leaders of our region to run the Citizenship by Investment programs independently, because the temptation of competing against each other, the zero-sum game, is more overwhelming than the reputation of our region. We see that the UK government now has imposed a visa, an ESTA application, where we have to apply now to get our visas. So we have lost our visa-free access to the UK, because not everybody is guaranteed to get it. And if you don't get it, it means you have to apply for a visa. And I believe that the Europeans and the rest of the Western world is going to go the same way. This is why I'm saying, in order for the CIP program to exist, I think we needed to take it out of the control of the individual countries and to put it at the OECS level, where there is one unit and one program. Now, I want us all to think about this for one moment. When I became Prime Minister, people said, "Are you going to join the CIP program?" And I said, "But we're already in the CIP program." They said, what do you mean? I said, well, a person who becomes a citizen in Grenada or in Dominica or in Antigua or in St. Kitts gets to enjoy all the benefits of being a citizen in St. Lucia. So we're in the program together. So I want to share some numbers with you. St. Kitts has approved 60,000 passports. Dominica, 70,000 passports. We don't have an official number from Antigua, but I'm assuming it's well over 40,000. In the case of St. Lucia, we've now uncovered that our government has approved or is about to approve almost 50,000 passports. All of these people can come to Grenada and live in Grenada, work in Grenada, and eventually they can vote in Grenada. I want us to understand that. And therefore, if in fact the OACS countries do not agree to let the CIP program be operated under the OACS, then what does one country's alternative become? Not to recognize the citizens of the other OACS countries and to be in breach of the Bastille Agreement? I bring this up not to influence the policy position of Grenada. I bring this up because this is the kind of issues that your leader will have to be confronting on a regular basis. These are the new issues that your party will have to now take up in the next elections. Because the treaties that we have had are now becoming obsolete. And we must make sure that we're carving out spaces for ourselves. The US election was determined on border control. United Kingdom with Brexit and what's taking place in Europe. So immigration has become a very powerful, mobilizing issue. And so you need great leadership, great experience, and I can only say a person who has and enjoys and truly understands the ideologies I've described tonight about a progressive economy that understands democracy and understands the importance of rule of law can come to the right conclusion. So again, I want to congratulate you on your 40 years. I wish you much more success. And from your sister party in St. Lucia, be assured of our continued support, and I'm looking forward to working with whoever your leader is in making sure we can continue the prosperity we so richly deserve. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Words of wisdom. I hope that it resonated across the room here tonight, and it is well received. Let's give him a round of applause again. At this time, I take the opportunity to invite Dr. the Most Honorable Andrew Holness to offer a few words to us here tonight.
Thank you very much, Madam Master of Ceremonies. It is indeed my great pleasure to be in the beautiful country of Grenada. Keith Mitchell is my bigger brother. And I can say my good friend. I would say father, but that might be stretching it a little bit. But I wish to thank Keith and all of you lovely people for the great welcome and the fantastic arrangements you have made for my visit here. I indeed feel almost at home. Jamaica and Grenada have a very close and special relationship. And the Jamaica Labour Party and the New National Party have an extremely close relationship. My friend Alan pointed out that we have a mind share. We are part of the IDU and we are founding members of the Caribbean Democratic Union. So we are friends that share values. We are friends that have a common purpose. And we are friends that have a shared vision for the prosperity of our people. So, my friend Keith, 40 years ago, when your party was being formed, the Right Honorable Edward Philip George Seaga was a critical support to your founder, Herbert Blaze. And they worked very closely together to establish the structure and foundation of this party. So I'm here tonight in celebration of your 40 years and to offer the congratulations from the Jamaica Labour Party. But we feel like we are a part of this as well. And I wanted to be here to celebrate with you. 40 years in the life of anything is significant. It is a milestone to be marked. My own former party leader, Edward Seaga, was an institutionalist. He believed in building systems and organizations that would outlive the individual. And I'm sure today he would be very pleased to see the growth and establishment of the NNP. There were others, Eugenia Charles, we recall, of blessed memory, who participated. And they held a particular view of the world. Alan sought to describe it as centrist, but I thought he would have gone a little bit further. It's really center-right and conservative. And whenever we speak ideologically, there are those who would try to cast us in particular stereotypes. But the truth is that the Caribbean political ideology is quite different from European or American political ideology. Our political ideology springs from our practical nature. We are all people who have strong Christian values. And from that strong Christian value and ethic comes the belief in our own independence, our own reliance. And that self-reliance leads us to want to have our independence. You know, Ronald Reagan once said that the best social program is a job. And that, I think, is a perfect distillation of what Caribbean conservatives believe. That we must build our economy. We must build our economy in such a way that it is fair, that it gives everyone an opportunity to progress, that it creates prosperity, that it is sustainable, that it can withstand shocks, that it strives for excellence, that it eliminates poverty, that it supports those who work hard and reward them, but it provides a social safety net for those who can't. We don't get into the other issues with other political thought and ideology. For Caribbean people, it's a practical thing. It's about a government that works. A government that is practical, a government that deals with the issues that face the people. But yet, as Caribbean people, we are liberal in our democratic outlook. We have what is described as liberal democracies. So we believe in the freedom of the individual. That the state should do very little to inhibit the individual's freedom. Indeed, our state must promote our freedom. And as a political organization, it is important that these principles, though not written out in academic theories and enshrined in our constitution and so forth, but they are what we understand. And that is what defines us and separates us from other political organizations. And we must never be shy about it, because that is what attracts people to us. The truth is that whenever the world is in chaos, whenever the future is uncertain, whenever there are challenges within your country, the electorate turns to the center-right, stable, conservative party. And you have to ask yourself why. The truth is that we offer the greatest stability. We are more likely to preserve the democracy. Alan pointed out that Keith has had total control of the parliament 3 times. And that has never affected the democracy of Grenada. We never ran into any form of crisis. So too has the Jamaica Labour Party. And that is because at our core of being center-right is the belief that democracy is the best system of government. You know, Winston Churchill once quipped that, you know, there comes a time, a moment in history where an individual is figuratively tapped on the shoulder for a big moment. And he said, what if that person were not prepared for that big moment? And so it is for political parties. There are big moments that will happen, and the political party must always be prepared. All kinds of challenges can emerge. And in today's world, you could describe the challenges in this way. You could say that, and especially since COVID, that we have frequent, multiple shocks that affect our country. They are frequent, they're happening all over. They are intense as well. When they happen, they have great impact. And oftentimes, they are not just multiple, many happening, but they are overlapping. They are happening together, and as you exit one, you enter another. So whether it is COVID that sparked a supply chain crisis, which sparked an inflation crisis, which sparked a cost of living crisis, or running parallel, wars in the Ukraine, wars in the Middle East, or climate change issues, storms, and they're all happening at once and overlapping. You need stable government. And behind stable governments are stable political parties. There used to be a thought that the political party is the hidden hand behind democracy. It can't be these days. Political parties must be treated as formal, transparent institutions because they are effectively public bodies. They are effectively public institutions. And therefore, the people who run these organizations and who are a part of them must ensure that their actions are transparent, that they are rules-based, and that they serve the people. But more so, that the political party is capable of adapting and changing while at the same time maintaining its core principles. Because you only get to be elected in our democracy if your political party is first of all relevant. That means the issues that face the people are being addressed on the platform of the party, not just in speech, but in action and policies. But you also get elected if you are considered legitimate. If the people feel that your organization has integrity, it means what it says, and says what it means, and does what it says very well. That it is true to the fundamental cause of the people. And therefore, as a political party of 40 years, as you wrestle with what the future could bring and what the future is likely to be, and you face the issue of transition, you must always, first of all, seek to ensure that you understand who you are to your electorate. That's right. What do you mean to the electorate? And ensure that that core is solid and well understood. Don't be afraid to have your think tanks. Don't be afraid to engage your grassroots supporters and hear what they have to say. That's right. Because that is where you get relevance and legitimacy. Ensure that all those organs are working. It can get messy, but if everyone is committed to ensuring that the party attains government and power, then the instability will be short-lived. As you seek to put in place systems for transition, you also have to examine very closely who will be the leader. Caribbean political parties are very leader-centric. And that can be good, and it also has its downsides. Because if it is too leader-centric, then the political party will not survive. And it will become very difficult to plan and manage succession. So, as you evolve as a political party, you must pay attention to building institutions. So I go back to that fundamental, important point. You need to understand who you are as a political party. What is your core mission, your core values, your core ideals? But you also have to establish institutions. And it is within the institutions that you will gain legitimacy. And I end my presentation to you by saying that every time, every era, as a leader, and you have been blessed to have had a man like Keith Mitchell. And I would dare say, he has been a man for many seasons.
That's right, that's right.
And he has carried this party for these many years, over 35 years, through all kinds of ups and downs. He's someone you can rely on. He is a faithful and loyal leader to the people. But as is the way of life, there are transitions. And I'm sure that my friend Keith is contemplating the best way to see through the transition. And any leader at this stage of 35 years of their life contributed to the public good must always be concerned about legacy and the future. If it were a case where he was just giving up and walk away, we would be very concerned. But we know his heart is, no matter what, his heart is here with you, the people of Grenada, no matter what. Whether he's a leader or retired, or he will always be there. Because to have someone who has been at the helm for 30 odd years, you are looking at, well, we don't say encyclopedia anymore, but he is a reservoir of knowledge. He is an institution in himself, and there is value and benefit there. So the question is, how do we leverage that value and benefit and give it to a new leader so that there is a smooth transition, there is stability, there is the continuation of institutions, that the party remains strong, rooted in its core principles, but growing branches to serve all the varying and differing needs of your society and the diversity of issues in your society. And that is what makes the party relevant and legitimate. That's right. And that is the puzzle that, as you celebrate your 40 years of existence, your 40 years of being a solid political organization that can be very proud of what you have achieved for your country, that is the puzzle that I know you have all the skills, the willingness, and indeed the passion to resolve. Again, congratulations, and on behalf of the Jamaica Labour Party, which we recently celebrated our 81st year of existence, we wish you all the best and God's richest blessings.
Let's hear it again for Dr. the Most Honorable Andrew Holness. Words of wisdom coming from both our guests here this evening, rooted in the core principles of the party. Remember that. Ponder on it. The core principles of the new national party. Extremely important. Ladies and gentlemen, I must admit, listening to Dr. the Most Honorable Andrew Holness in his delivery, I became a bit emotional. Hearing him speaking about his dear friend, brother, not your father, you ain't old that old, Dr. Mitchell. And I'm sure that there are others out there who would have been emotional just to hear those words, to hear how much he has shared his life and love for the people of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. It touched my heart this evening. But this is not why we're here. I know why you are here, because you're waiting for that special person to address you tonight. And it is indeed my pleasure to invite Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, leader of the new National Party, to speak to you, his people, here this evening.
Thank you, Shama. My two special friends, Alan Chastity, political leader of the United Workers' Party and former Prime Minister. And of course, Dr. the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, present Prime Minister of Jamaica and political leader of the JLP. To my colleagues of the New National Party's executive and all of you here today, this evening, a warm, special greetings to all of you. Let me just before I go into my prepared text, it is said, a friend in need is a friend indeed. And two of the distinguished Caribbean citizens you will see here tonight is a clear example of that friendship. Alan was on holiday with his family. And when I called him and told him about the importance of this activity, sisters and brothers, Alan left his family out there, took a flight, came to Grenada, and is going back to meet them where they were holidaying. That is friendship. This kind of relationship you don't play with. Friends, Andrew is a busy man. When I spoke to him, he had to juggle his schedule. And I'm sure many of you may know that he's facing a general election that must be held in Jamaica next year. So he's one busy, busy man. But when I spoke to him, he said to me, despite that schedule, I will be here in Grenada with my brothers and sisters of the new National Party. Sisters and brothers, that's what we're talking about when we talk about relationship. It's therefore with immense joy and privilege that I stand before you here tonight at this banquet to celebrate the 40th anniversary of this special institution called the New National Party. We are truly honored to have all distinguished brothers with us. But friends, the leaders of these two distinguished parties during 1984's period played a pivotal role. Played a pivotal role in the formation of our party. Edward Siaga of the Jamaica Labour Party came to Grenada at the opening of the first parliament of the country in 1985, of that period. And he never failed to offer his counseling and advice to me and the new National Party throughout the tenure of his leadership of the Jamaica Labour Party. Because I think he fundamentally understood that we as a grouping certainly have a major responsibility in guiding the stability and development of the Caribbean countries. And we have a role to play, and we must stick together. John Compton of St. Lucia, sisters and brothers. In the first few years of my leadership of the country, I never made a major decision without calling John or James Mitchell. Because I recognize the years of experience, and I recognize the commitment to the principles of democracy. And I also recognize they want nothing more than to see the success of the new National Party and the people of Grenada, Carriacou, and PT Martinique. And therefore, it is humbling to have both of these two distinguished brothers here with us tonight. Sisters and brothers, give them now a better, stronger round of applause. And as we reflect on our journey, it is crucial to recognize and honor the stalwarts who have been instrumental in keeping our party afloat during those challenging times, particularly during the leadership transition in 1989 and the subsequent fracture of the new National Party. It's a difficult period, sisters and brothers. Sisters and brothers, that period of 1989 was one of the most difficult periods of my tenure in politics. And it's important for me to recognize, without the support of all our soldiers of the NNP, I would not have been standing here with you tonight. And that support, sisters and brothers, after our party was beaten badly in elections in 1990, when we only won just 2 seats, the constituency of Northwest St. George's that I represent, and the constituency of St. Mark's. Sisters and brothers, there were difficult times. I always remember listening to the general election result the night of that election when we lost and we won only 2 seats. And I felt sorry for myself. I felt as if they were reading out bingo numbers in most of the parts of the country. And I'm saying this to say, it is because of the support and guidance of all of you and friends regionally and internationally, we are able to survive as a political organization. I could never forget those persons. And it is difficult to remember all of them, but sisters and brothers, I'll attempt to share with you tonight. I think it's a time for reflection and for thanksgiving. Sir John Watts, sisters and brothers, this was a gentleman who formed the Grenada National Party, was its leader, and he gave leadership over to Hubert Blaze. He stood there with the leadership of the party then, during that crisis time. When I was removed as a member of the cabinet, John Watts stood tall and expressed support for the principles of democracy. And to him, I would always have a special place in my heart. Sir Lawrence Joseph was a member of the cabinet at the time. And when I was removed from the cabinet, Sir Lawrence Joseph said, what was done was fundamentally wrong, and I'm also leaving the cabinet at the time. Sisters and brothers, Sir Danny Williams just left us a short while ago, gone to the great beyond. But he was one of this, what you call, a foundation member of the new National Party, and one who had the leading practice of law in the country at the time. And then he was a treasured member of the government of the day. And a certain gentleman and friends came to him and offered him a large sum of money to dump the NNP and Keith Mitchell and to join the breakaway faction called the National Party. Danny refused, together with his wife, Lady Gloria Williams. Sisters and brothers, these people stood for what is fundamentally right when it was easy to take the other road. We could never forget them. They're gone to the great beyond, but we remember them for their sacrifice and their love. Elvin Nimrod from carriacou, that brother who have left us some time ago. Elvin Nimrod joined the NNP in 1995 and remained one of the strongest stalwarts of the new National Party. And you must recall, sisters and brothers, in that election in 1995, the NNP got just 160 odd votes in carriacou. But within 5 years, with Elvin Nimrod's support and his commitment to the new National Party, we won that seat also, sisters and brothers. In other words, friends, we have to remember these people. Gregory Boyne has already been recognized. But sometimes, some of us don't remember the sacrifice and commitment of others because they don't shout for themselves. But I tell you this, if there's a more capable Grenadian and competent servant, a stalwart in terms of his technical knowledge and his willingness to give. It's hard to find another Grenadian other than Gregory Boyne, sisters and brothers. Throughout the period of rural electrification, throughout the length and breadth of the country, Gregory was the manager of Grenlec that worked with us to take electricity from 45% of the country to over 98% in just 4 years. And while he did this, he was also chairman of the Grenada Telephone Company and saw to it of the major transition that took place in telecommunication. So Royston Hopkins, when you talk about friendship, commitment, and sacrifice, I recalled when we lost that election and looked like we were finished as an organization, Royston called me and he said, "Do not give up. I know how you feel. I will be there for you." And he stood there in line for several years in those dark periods, standing there and making the sacrifice to help the New National Party, quietly behind the scene, never speaking out publicly. He's not here with us tonight. I want to recognize Sir Royston Hopkins. A person that gave us in the most difficult time in our life. During that period, you hear me talking about that period because I believe it's so important. Habib Hadid. Habib Hadid. After we lost that election, as you know, when you lose, you don't go ask people for help, finance. You don't. My friends, Habib Hadid stood there and basically supported the New National Party and helped us to clear up all our debts. I cannot even tell you because some members of the family might be vexed with him while he's lying in his grave. But he was there with us. Friends, there was a lady on the wharf called Mrs. Banfield with a little shop. I'm sure many of you, the dock workers, would know her. Mrs. Banfield took on the mantle of raising funds for the New National Party when we lost. And that's why I'm talking about that period. That is when you get to know your true friends. When you're down, sisters and brothers. When you're down, some people want to know you when you're up. When you're down, they want to push you down even further. Habib Hadid, that's why I love your grandson is here tonight accepting that award. I could never be able to forget him, friends. Last but not least, the Purcell family. The Purcell family has been constant and solid with a historical support to the New National Party and to myself. I know they suffered too. Their stores were raided one time, whatever reason. I know that. And therefore, one can never forget the commitment that those the family members represented here tonight by Sister Evelyn. Thank you. Thank you, Sister Evelyn. Sisters and brothers, it is fitting tonight There's so many ordinary people that stood in line in the rough days. So many of them, it's so difficult to mention all of them. But an incident I would never forget is 2 days after that massive defeat in 1990. I was sitting at my veranda in Happy Hill, and this brother from St. Andrews came around. If you know what my house is, as they turned the corner, then I would recognize who came in. Named by the name of Lloyd Thomas. Brought in these two brothers and asked me how I am, because they were concerned about me. I should have been more concerned about them. And Lloyd, after a short conversation, Lloyd said to me, "Doc, let us get to work." I said, "Lloyd, you drink crazy milk. You didn't listen how much leaks we get in that election just 2 nights ago." He said, "Doc, let's start to work now." Friends, within a week, Lloyd and his team, Sister Kate is sitting here, organized a meeting. I don't know if Kate, you were there at that first meeting. Your father was there, I remember that. And Lloyd brought me up to the cocoa for the first meeting a week after that massive defeat. Sisters and brothers, how could one forget this? I could never, never forget. So friends, I think Alan spoke to us and gave us reasons why we have to be strong and why we have to be there for the people of Grenada, carriacou, and Petite Martinique. Andrew spoke about the principles that we should stand on. Sisters and brothers, the principles of democracy, the principles that will sustain us as a political institution. So it's not just about who leads the party, but it's the principles upon which the party stands. And that must never be forgotten. The personalities will come and the personalities will go, but the principles must stand, sisters and brothers. So when the mantle of leadership of the NNP is to be passed on, sooner than later, it will be the principles upon which this party is founded. It will be the principles upon which this party continue to provide stewardship for the people of Grenada, carriacou, and Petite Martinique. And it would be the principles upon which will take this party successfully in future elections to continue the development of Grenada, carriacou, and Petite Martinique. So tonight, sisters and brothers, I think I've said enough. Tonight was supposed to be just a celebration. So let us keep it that way. But tomorrow, you will hear a lot more from all of us. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy your 40 years of success to the people of Grenada, carriacou, and Petite Martinique. Hip, hip, hip. Hip, hip, hip. Thank you all.
One more time, hip, hip, hip. Dr. Mitchell, the principles, the core principles of the new national party. And that is what is going to take us successfully into the next election. Remember that. Kate Lewis, I think you were a baby when Mr. Lloyd had his meeting. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite the chairman of the steering committee for the 40th anniversary, Mr. Oliver Nimrod, to offer a vote of thanks tonight before we close the proceedings. Thank you.
Our distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good evening to all. As we draw close to this truly remarkable evening, it is my honor to express our heartfelt gratitude for making the NNP Banquet and Award Ceremony a very unforgettable occasion. First and foremost, we extend our deep appreciation to Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell for his unwavering leadership and dedication to our great party and nation. Your vision and commitment inspire us to keep building a stronger and more prosperous Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. We also extend our gratitude to our esteemed guest of honor, Dr. the Honorable Andrew Holness and Honorable Alan Chastanet. Your presence tonight reaffirms the bonds of friendship and shared purpose between our nations and reminds us of the importance of regional collaboration in achieving greatness in our region. A special thanks goes out to our awardees tonight and all our shining stars. Your contributions have strengthened the pillars of the new national party and enriched the lives of our Grenadian people. You represent the ideals we all strive for, and your recognition tonight is well deserving. To our event planners, caterers, musicians, and the entire organizing team, your hard work behind the scenes brought elegance and excellence to every moment of tonight's program. Thank you. From the soulful pan music that greeted us upon our entry, the captivating songs of the violin, the saxophone, and finally, the live band, which you haven't heard as yet, but will take us into the night. Thank you. I would also like to thank our sponsors, our supporters, and every guest who joined us here tonight. And you should give yourself a round of applause because everyone looks so beautiful. Your faith in the new national party fuels our drive to continue creating opportunities and building a brighter future for us all here in Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. Lastly, let us remember that the strength of our party lies in the unity and dedication of each and every one of us as members. Together, we remain Grenada's best hope for progress and prosperity. Thank you once again, and let us carry the energy and inspiration from this evening into the days ahead as we continue to work for betterment of our beautiful Grenada. Enjoy the rest of the night, and let us do it the NNP way. Before I go, I must say, tomorrow we know we have the big rally in Beausejour. And we're calling on the outer parishes to mobilize as a motorcade as you put those buses together and you drive down to join us in Beausejour tomorrow. it will be massive. 40 years, but we heard the Honorable Andrew Holness. He says the JLP is 81 years. So we halfway there. And there ain't no stopping us now. NNP to rescue Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique.
Remember, folks, we want to have a motorcade coming down on the east and on the west coast into Beauséjour tomorrow. And on the 3rd is the actual NNP day, and we're asking everybody to wear something green. That's on the 3rd. Don't be afraid to wear your green. Don't let fear prohibit you from shining in your colors. Green on December 3rd. Remember that. And of course, folks, as you know, we enter into a musical interlude. If you wish to dance, if you wish to have a good time, it's party time. Yes, we're not 80-something years old like the Jamaica party, so we could party. Thank you, everybody. You look wonderful. Have a wonderful rest of the evening. Let's, those of you who wish to have dessert, I think this is still available. Is it? And enjoy the rest of the evening. We thank our guests. It's so wonderful having such wonderful regional people here with us to enjoy this very special moment. Thank you so much again.